Well, if you've ever had a loved one admitted to hospital, I don't have to explain to you how stressful that can be. Just sorting through the information can be overwhelming, and communicating with busy staff can sometimes be a challenge. So this morning, we are talking about how to gather information on a loved one and stay in the loop when you can't physically be there. To help us do that, our favorite nurse, Nurse Jake, is back with us this morning. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me back.
I think this is really important, especially for someone who can't be there with their loved one when they are a patient in the hospital. So this is specifically for you. Your first tip that you have is don't call during shift change.
Yeah, healthcare systems and hospitals are so complex, just if you're there in person. So if you have to call in, it can be even more challenging. Nurses and frontline healthcare workers typically work in shifts, so either 8-hour or 12-hour shifts. And nearing the end of their shift, they're doing things like documenting their care, doing any final care tasks, or providing a handover to the oncoming nurses. And then those nurses are taking a report and then checking their patients right away. So we usually say there's a grace period of about 30 minutes before and after, where it might be really difficult for you to get in touch with the nurses. So just call and ask, or when you're there for the first time, what times do they do shift change?
Okay, that's a great tip. The other two times you want to avoid calling, this is during meal time and during medication time, because I suspect your hospital staff is busy.
Yeah, exactly. They're not sitting around the nursing station, so they're in the rooms, they're setting up the meal trays, feeding their patients, and delivering crucial treatments to their patients. So these are other times that might be challenging. You're not going to know all the times, but it's just to build awareness that if you can't get through, these are some of the reasons why.
The nursing staff that's there, they are caring for all the patients on the floor. And so when they're not answering their phone, they're talking to people live in front of them. So if you're really struggling to get a hold of them, you say that there's a magic phrase that we can use here, and it's, "Can I please speak to the charge nurse?"
Yes.
What does that mean?
So depending on the size of the hospital and their model of care, and of course staffing numbers, usually Monday through Friday during the daytime, there's either a team lead or a charge nurse who doesn't have a patient assignment. So as you said, primary nurses will have sometimes 4 up to 10 patients that they're caring for. And this charge nurse has oversight on the whole unit. So they might not have an assignment, and they're a great resource to ask for if you have a general question or want an update on your loved one.
Okay, so how many people should be contacting the hospital? Your eyes, but you can see at home, his eyes got this big when I asked that. How many people are allowed to call to check in on the patient?
So we usually advocate that there's one primary contact.
You got that, Canada? One person calling.
And this is for 2 reasons. One is it streamlines communication with the healthcare team, and it builds that rapport and relationship. So it can be a next of kin, a power of attorney, or a substitute decision maker. And the second reason is because of a thing called FIPA, which is the Personal Health Information Protection Act. And these are acts that range across provinces. They go by different names, but they stipulate that healthcare professionals can only disclose personal health information to someone that the patient has either verbally or in writing designated as a contact.
Okay, so we know how busy hospitals are. If you are a person who is not allowed to have that information, no matter how much you love the patient in the hospital, you're wasting their time, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, we can redirect you, or we can approach the patient and ask if they're willing to give consent for an additional family member. But without that consent, it's very difficult, and we actually can't disclose the information.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is something I didn't actually know, which is interesting because my mom worked in healthcare for like 4 decades. Most hospitals have a patient and family relations department. What is this?
Yeah, so this was something that was implemented so that patients and family members could address concerns and give feedback, whether that's positive or negative. They're really there as a resource to patient and family members to kind of help them navigate the system and follow up on any concerns. So it's a great resource that you can call. Usually they have business hours, so Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, 8 to 4, and you can get a hold of them and they can help you with your experience.
But I love that this is an option, because we know that when there is a sickness in the family or there's an injury or you're in the hospital, it affects the whole family.
Totally, and you want to have someone who's there who can help guide you through that process. And again, it's so complicated, and they're there as a resource, so definitely use it.
You are also here as a resource, Nurse Jake, so we're so glad that you came in today.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.